when I ask and that's inspired.
Yeah,
the rose of the thorn in your side.
Yeah.
Then you're better off dead if you're having it done. Bum, bum, bum,
Bum, bum, bum, bum. Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
there's that sort of bridge where it's just la la la's and blues.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Song Album Career. I'm Chris Bragg, and with me, as always, is David Thurmaier. And today we're going to be talking about a 1975 album from a very famous piano-playing, fantastic piano-playing dandy, really.
Yeah.
Elton John, and of course, Bernie Taupin, his co-writer, who writes all the lyrics to his songs, and a very personal album from them called Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. I think you have to start with the cover on this one, Dave. The cover is crazy.
It is.
This is Alan Aldridge. Now, if you don't know who Alan Aldridge is, he designed the original lips for the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
He designed a couple other famous things.
I know him for the, he did illustrations for the Beatles illustrated lyrics, I think, or illustrated records, something like that.
That's right. And then the Who's A Quick One, that
really?
cover. But I think this is probably his most famous work, this insanely detailed cover.
Yeah.
You can just spend, when I was a kid, this album was kicking around in my household. And so it's very, very personal album for me because I spent a lot of time with it as a kid. And of course, I spent a lot of time looking at the cover. And on the back cover, there's like a naked lady. And I was oh,
all right. Wow. Racy Elton.
Yeah, so, it was very, very interesting. But it's sort of in the style of a Northern Renaissance oil painting. And you can,
the Garden of Delights, I believe it was based on. Yeah, exactly.
So, but if you really look at it and you really get into the details of it, there's little something in each song is also in the album cover. So it's definitely worth a long look as you're listening to the album. What do you think of the album cover, Dave?
Very colorful, very unfortunately I don't have the actual album, so I don't have the same joy that you do in dissecting it because I can only see it on my computer, but it's very colorful, and in my Apple Music streaming their parts move. So Captain Fantastic's leg is moving is he on a motorcycle or something, or
He's stepping over a piano.
Oh, stepping over a piano. Okay, his leg is moving, I think, there's some animation.
Also, with the original album, I have this original copy here. You get all kinds of stuff. A poster, a thing called Scraps that has pictures, and also a whole comic book in it. A great lyrics book. And the lyrics on this album are incredible. We'll obviously dive into that, but a very detailed lyrics book. And then, of course, you want to join the Elton John fan club, Dave.
Sure. I wonder if it's still in business these days. Probably not.
Probably not. But, pretty obvious who Captain Fantastic is and who the Brown Dirt Cowboy is, right?
Well, that's the thing. So I want to ask, because I'm going to reveal something here, that this is the first Elton John album I've listened to all the way through.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because Elton for me was a hits guy, and I had the greatest hits albums, but I never actually had any of the real albums that they came from. So this was a fascinating one for me. And the fact that from what all the research reading about this album, it's kind of the peak of Elton's 70s, maybe even his career in a sense, because they say he became kind of, we know he got trashier and had a lot of problems in the 80s.
Yeah, may have had some cocaine problems.
Yes, some substance abuse issues. But this was like the peak of his first period, and when those early hits came about. So I was going to ask you, Were you a big Elton fan, or are you a big Elton fan? And you're from way back, or pick and choose, or
Well, like I said, there was Elton John was clearly and very prominently on the radio a lot in the 70s.
sure.
And I was born in the 70s. Yes, I was young, but I distinctly remember things like Philadelphia Freedom, which we'll talk about a little bit at the end of the episode, and the hit songs that everybody knows playing a lot on the radio. But we had this album in my household. We had records in my household. We had some ELO records. We talked about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We had some other groups, Queen, but we definitely had a couple of Elton John records, and this was the one that I was really drawn to the most. And my oldest brother, who recently passed away, was a Elton John fan and loved this album and played it a lot and sang along with it. And so I think I definitely have a stronger connection to this than some of his other albums. Now, I've gone through, I've bought a few other ones, Tumbleweed Connection, and a few of the other better ones. The Elton John album, the second album, is also very terrific. But this one, I think, is like, to me, is like the height
Yeah.
of Elton John in that it's a strong album. It's a very thematic album,
A concept album. Yeah.
concept album, also a personal album,
Right.
talking about
Autobiographical.
autobiographical. And I think it's one of the best. I think the production on this, Gus Dungeon, who passed away, famously passed away, and there's a 80s song from Elton called Song for Gus, is a tribute to him. But his band is terrific.
Yeah.
Particularly the very, very underrated Davy Johnstone, the guitarist,
Hmm.
plays acoustic electric on this, and Leslie guitar and mandolin and a couple things like that. And Nigel Olsson, the drums, I think is just terrific. Dee Murray on bass guitar, and Ray Cooper's all over this,
Yeah.
doing a bunch of everything under the sun. The gong,
Soon, soon
the
to be,
jawbone.
soon to be pals with George Harrison.
That's right. And this album, what is really nice about it is here's Elton, and he's at the height of his fame, really. But it didn't seem to be like that. This was a commercial cash grab album, and instead was a very like personal album, talking about their early years and their struggles and successes together. And they're writing together. There's a couple songs about writing
Right.
on this. So in that way, I think it's like it hits every mark that I'm looking for with music and Elton John and everything.
I think that's part of the reason I didn't know it, because it doesn't have hits on it. I mean, you have one song that was a single on it, which is maybe arguably the best song on the album, maybe. Very personal. But there's no hits. There's no
Yeah.
Crocodile Rock or all the usual Honky Cat or any of the typical the
Yeah.
songs you think of as being big Elton John hits. So it is really meant to be heard, I think, as an album and as
Yeah.
an experience. And it's a meaty album. Like it's not half an hour. I mean, it's pretty full, long, in depth. Some songs blend right into the next, and what I read, and you probably saw this too, they wrote it that way. That's unusual, I think, to
Yeah.
write from beginning to end and then have it come out that way. Usually you start with something and then it gets put somewhere else, or you write around it, but the fact that they started with the title song and then
Yeah.
just kind of took that as the theme and went through.
Yeah. I was looking too. They're just very prolific at this time. I mean,
Oh yeah.
2 albums before this was the big double album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and then Caribou, which had nothing but hits on it.
Yeah.
And then this album, and then another album, the album after this came out in the same year. So they just like writing like in their absolute groove of
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
writing stuff. But to write it that way, to do one differently like that, and to write it so. And the other thing about Elton John and Bernie Taupin, unlike say John Lennon and Paul McCartney, who occasionally would write separately or occasionally face to face right?
As Paul likes to
As
talk
Paul
about.
likes to say. Elton John and Bernie Taupin apparently have never ever written together. Bernie writes the lyrics, gives them to Elton. Elton takes the lyrics. There's a famous clip somewhere of Elton being like, "Oh, what's this one?" And he's like, "Okay, this one's something called Tiny Dancers." So that, and he's like on camera, and he's like, "Okay, maybe I'll put a blue jean baby." It looks like
Oh,
he's.
wow.
I don't know if it really is. He's looking at it for the first time and coming up with it, but it seems that way as you're watching it. It's just like an incredible piece of footage. So, yeah, so you
Wow.
can find that on YouTube somewhere. But
That's something also that stands out too. For me personally, we talk in our Beatle world, we don't really talk about artists who are pianists that often. They're always guitarists, and I think you
yeah,
approach. And when I teach classes on the Beatles or on popular music, approaching writing music on the piano is very different than writing it on the guitar. And so that's why I feel like in this album, there's a lot of symphonic, even though it doesn't have an orchestra or anything, it's not ELO. It's very still symphonic, like big.
yeah,
And the progressions and the music is very piano keyboard based, which makes sense, but it is different. And so the guitarist, instead of being the main focus, this Davy Johnstone, he gets to play around what Elton has already laid down and does it very well. I want to echo the band as being great, but the piano aspect, this is keyboard driven music, is really a different thing for me too.
yeah. And I saw somewhere somebody, I forget who said it, but that if Elton John could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame only for rock piano.
Yeah, seriously.
He's that good at just
Yeah.
playing rock piano. But I also am struck by how many different styles he kind of plays in. And I think that comes from his background being, they were hired when Elton John and Bernie Taupin met through another Beatles connection here, Dick James,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and worked as a songwriter for the Dick James music company. That comes up in the lyrics of the song. Some of the frustrations with, trying to write hits for Lulu and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
La-di-das and whatever.
yeah, but there was a Tin Pan Alley in England.
Yeah,
And
right.
he's sort of like working in that surrounded by these old timey Tin Pan Alley type musicians. So he's got the rock thing. He's also got that. He also had a little bit of classical training and piano lessons when he was early in his career. And he was actually, I think, in school for piano and then quit. I was like, I just want to, be in a rock band, basically. So was in a rock band, worked with in the Dick James thing, writing different styles of songs. So I feel like that served him well over his career of like having this versatility to play things that are more the aforementioned Elton John album, which you can see like above my head there. Right there.
Yep. Yeah, I see it.
Is very like classically and with a lot of strings and a lot of classical sounding love songs.
Yeah, your song is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Very orchestrated.
That's a lot different than Honky Cat, you know what
Right,
I mean?
right,
so,
right.
so yeah, so I think that's part of what served him as far as his longevity. And then, of course, he in the later years get into like writing for Disney movies and things
Yeah.
like that. So very versatile career. But the different styles kind of shine a lot on this album. So I think let's
I was kind of worried that when I heard this album, it was going to be on our Beatles podcast. You like to do this great imitation of, because of course we're going to mention this later, but John Lennon and Elton John worked together on a #1 hit for John, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. I thought that the album was gonna sound a lot like the Saturday Night Live band that you make fun of.
Yeah.
There's maybe one or two songs that have that feel, but not many. It's really different.
there's one song on this that I think has maybe a slightly dated kind of of its time dated kind of orchestration, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that as well. But
Right.
okay, let's start in though.
Yeah.
On the songs here, and I think what I'll do is like have you talk a little bit more about each of these because I'm like
You know them well.
Yeah, I know him well, I was happy to look at it this week and really discover some new things about it. But let's start with the first track, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, the title song.
Yeah, so this sets things off, and so you learn about the two characters, so Bernie and Elton. I guess I never paid as much attention to the lyrics before, but it's really a story. Like it's very like a narrative almost, the way
Yeah,
they go through it. And the music is pretty, takes a little while to get into. It takes a while to get going for me, because he's telling a story and he's setting out the characters, and then it becomes a pretty involved kind of song. But I like the just lyrics like "for cheap easy meals are hardly a home on the range," so getting with that dirt cowboy theme. Too hot for the band with a desperate desire for change. We've thrown in the towel too many times, out for the count, and when we're down,
yeah.
Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. So it's
From the end of the world to your town.
yeah, exactly. So it's setting off a theme we're going to see a lot, which is this: we've been beaten down a lot on getting up to our fame, but we're going to keep going and keep at it. And the music does that too. It's long song, but it builds, and I think
I think because it's that way, it's also it comes off as a very uplifting song,
right.
and that key lyric of "out for the count, but when we're down, Captain Fence, we're coming, we're gonna make it."
Yeah.
So this desire for change, I think, is the key things there. It starts unexpectedly with a sort of acoustic guitar sound rather than the piano. You're used to ding dong ding.
You don't hear that for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So and then pretty rocking guitar in the middle, like crunchy. And Elton's on the Fender Rhodes a lot in this one too. So and then of course this one's got all kinds of gong and jawbone and all kinds of Ray Cooper
aux percussion.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got that. Yeah. What? Oh, that's what it was. The jawbone. You hear that kind of thing. I wondered what that was. I was thinking, what is the name of that instrument? Yeah. Exactly.
You don't have a jawbone in your music group there?
I don't think I've got one back here. I'll have to look in my box of instruments. But yeah, that was a good one.
I also like the sort of sweet scene painting of them as you like two teas, both with sugar please and sweet chocolate biscuits, and then just talking about like sort of like happy memories of where they are coming from. And then that line, should I make my way out of the woods? And then, there they go towards their thing. One other line in this I think is important and kind of connects to the next song. All this talk of Jesus coming back to see us, didn't fool us. So I think there is a little bit of a cynicism in this album. Obviously, a little bit later, there's a song called Better Off Dead. So I think that there's an honesty to this album about like, we definitely weren't in with all this Catholic religious thing going on in the place we grew up, and want to forge forward a little bit. So that leads us to the second song in this album, Tower of Babel.
I thought it was Babel, but
not in this song. It is
not in this version. No, and this it starts right out with the piano. So you hear Elton by himself, starting out with some images here of Babylon. It does talking about someone called us Babylon, those hungry hunters tracking down the hours. But it's a slower song. And to me, it's a very 70s sound. Once it gets going, the guitar sounds, and then it picks up do 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 do. Yeah, it's got that feel, but it's a catchy tune.
Energetic track for being a slower song. It's very energetic.
And Jesus is back.
Yeah.
Because Jesus don't save the guys in the Tower of Babel.
Well, I think what I like the most about this song is the great chord changes throughout. It's like very complicated, but very melodic too. And that song, that part you were singing was just the instrumental sort of bridge, right?
Yeah.
Is very, very beautifully like and complex. Dun, 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 dun,
Layered.
dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Hmm.
dun. Very interesting, very interesting. But my brother, my aforementioned eldest brother, was also a minister,
Ah,
and
yes.
you would think maybe he wouldn't like Elton John for some reasons, but he
Wow. Wow.
did. But he did. Um, but he's always complained a little because he's like, this is a biblical mishmash, and it
Mm.
doesn't make any sense biblically because it's like Jesus don't save the guys at the Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel is like in Genesis,
Yeah. So
and
Jesus wasn't
Jesus
there.
is thousands of years later. So it's
Yeah.
like, but really what he's saying is that Sodom meet Gomorrah, Cain meet Abel, is the people in his town are all lechers crawl and
They like to
call
party.
girls under the table who are
Yeah.
partying, but
Yep.
are also saying that they're religiously like
Yeah. Hypocrites. Yeah.
hypocrites. So it's sort of calling out, cynically calling out the hypocrites of people in the towns he grew up with, and I believe it was Middlesex where came from.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and the hypocrisy of puritanical people
Hmm.
judging his life and rock and roll lifestyle, you know. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I like it. It's
Yeah.
catchy
It's
too.
very, yeah, catchy. And I like the someone call us Babylon. That music is just beautiful. That I love a good ascending
Yeah.
piano progression like that. Sounds great.
This is another one too that he couldn't have maybe done in later years just because it's so high up in his register.
Yeah.
Party time for the guy. It's higher than my register, that's for sure.
Yeah. 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 Wouldn't
So
want to hear him now. Try to do it.
and then we go to one of the next track, one of two songs on here specifically about songwriting,
Yep.
and that is Bitter Fingers.
This has a fun beginning. It's like this carnival-esque deedly 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 deedly
Yeah.
deedly, the keyboard going, and then he picks up and gets into the song about, and like you said, it's really autobiographical about I need a song, boys, got to stir these workers up so they can sing a song with their wives in the pubs, and then my favorite part, it really gets fast and rocking,
Dun,
and
dun,
he
dun, dun,
yeah,
dun, 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 dun.
yeah. And that's when he
Mhm.
has the chorus, I'm sick of tra-la-las and la-di-das, la-di-da. So it's talking about a really great song about songwriting and
Yeah.
the frustrations about it, but
Yeah, and
catchy.
I think this is specifically his time with before he released his own work and
Yeah,
where he was
yeah,
singing, where he's like he and Bernie are trying to write songs for the Dick James Music DJM, which they stayed with for a long time.
Oh, wow.
JM. So, but anyway, the verses, I think, it's fascinating, like writing wise, because the verses are actually even in quotes because they're
Hmm.
sung from the perspective of maybe Dick James himself, the boss, who's like, "Now, boys, I need a catchy tune to stir those workers up." That's a
Yeah,
great little line of it.
in Stepney.
Instead, yeah, it's happening. And then that
Yeah,
part, the chorus part, I guess, or the
yeah,
second part there is from the perspective of Elton and Bernie of like, I'm sick of tra-la-las and la-di-da. So it's great. And there's a lot of little good lines in there, like just another hit and run from the Tin Pan Alley Twins. I thought that was
yeah. It's a good one.
a good one.
And the title of the song, you might be wondering, why is this called Bitter Fingers?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your fingers are doing stuff not for you. You're kind of
Yeah.
bitter about the fact that you're not able to do your own work, and
Yeah.
bitter fingers never swung on swinging stars. Swinging stars. It's hard to write a song with bitter fingers.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was watching a little documentary this morning, actually, a BBC documentary about Elton John's early careers, and they were talking about, and he went back and was talking to, I don't know, his aunt or his mom or somebody, and she was like, "What are you gonna?" And they were complaining about, oh, we got to write all these songs for somebody. What do you want to, like a job at the grocery store or something?
Dig ditches.
Quit complaining. So he's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
So now the next track. Tell me when the whistle blows.
This one, I have to say, probably was my least favorite on the album. I think it's a little generic, and it's got that. This is of that 70s. It got the held strings on it, and the arrangement doesn't do it for me much.
Yeah, it's an arrangement from Gene Page, orchestral arrangements.
Okay.
And I am with you on, this is a very, not quite Sound of Philadelphia, but it has a very similar to a lot of 70s like hit songs where there's just a lot of orchestration.
Yeah.
And I just think the orchestration is a bit much on this.
Agreed.
There is a decent groove on this one, and I think if they stripped out the orchestration, it would be a better track, actually.
Yeah, because it reminded me of a TV show theme or something, and with the string.
And I don't think it matches all this orchestration and the horns and all that.
Right.
What does that have to do with? It's a song from Bernie's perspective, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That's very sort of a cousin of Honky Cat and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, where he's always talking about this struggle of living in the city, wanting to be back home on the farm or on the country or out in the woods or those sort of like things.
Because Elton's the city guy and Bernie's the country guy, and so I think you're right. It does kind of alternate. The album sort of alternates between Elton and Bernie.
Yeah.
And then they're together on some.
Yeah. And this one's a very personal Bernie one, and obviously, and it goes right into the next one, which is, we'll get to that, but that's obviously Elton's story there.
Yep.
But there is some interesting stuff in it. I mean, it is like...
It's got the Honky Cat groove, kind of like...
So sort of a funky thing there. And then... Long lost and lonely boy, you're just a black sheep going home. I want to feel your wheels of steel underneath my itching heels. I love that lyric. It's just a song about him wanting to get to that train and get home.
Yeah. But good lyrics, but
it is. I don't think it's quite a skipper, and because it fits in with the rest of the album, it's pretty good. But it is my least favorite track on the album. Oh,
we're in total sync on that then. Yeah, this one was. So I kept waiting, like, okay, I want to get to the next one. So that's the very powerful "Someone Saved My Life Tonight."
That's right. A powerful
true story
is right. Yeah, it's a true story. There's so much to talk about this.
Yeah,
and we've talked recently about "Go Your Own Way" and I talked about that as a kind of a screw you breakup song, and Yesterday, which is a breakup song, but it's sort of like sad that it's over. And this one, fantastic song, one of Elton's all-time best, one of my favorite songs. I'd put it maybe in my top 20 of all favorite songs ever.
Well, and he put it up. He said it was his favorite, like one of his favorites too.
Yeah. So this is a breakup song, but it's the sound of someone broken by a relationship, but regaining his power. And I think that the key line, the key lyric to me has always been, "Damn it."
Yeah.
Like at that point, he's like, I'm listen to me. I'm going to thank God my music's still alive. So, and some great, being saved from a mistake. It would have been a mistake to stay with this person. And then probably a mistake because, I don't know, spoiler alert here. Elton John, I don't know if you know this, Dave, is gay.
Huh? No, this is the first time hearing of this. I had no idea. I couldn't tell, and I didn't know. And that's the problem, right? He was supposed to marry a woman.
Yeah, girlfriend Linda Woodbrow John and
Yeah.
Woodrow were sharing a flat with Taupin in Furling Road in Highbury, London. Hence the opening line, when I think of those East End lights. John did not love his girlfriend and felt trapped by the relationship. Feeling desperate, John contemplated suicide and then made this in stories Elton tells it is kind of funny attempt to kill himself by turning the stove on, but he had the windows open, so it wasn't going to do anything. Just spread a lot of gas around.
Yeah.
Probably made him a little sick feeling, but
Right.
didn't do anything. So, but then they came with a truck to take him home.
Yeah.
Literally. So kind of a song that's very much a thing that happened to him, and they turned it into just a tremendously great song.
Yeah.
With all kinds of great lyrics. It almost had your hooks in me, didn't you, dear? Sweet freedom whispered in my ear, you're a butterfly.
Yeah.
Butterflies are free to fly. Wonderful stuff.
Well, and Sugar Bear, I think, is the guy who saved him, or who I think that's what he used to call him, or that's what he calls him in the song. I don't know.
And musically, there's this dramatic sort of piano chord run. Da, da, da. It's just wonderful. But it starts kind of soft, and then it builds up. And at the end of the song, you get very uplifting feeling, celebratory almost.
Yeah.
And having found his way out of this bad situation again. Someone save my life.
It's a huge production, epic. And you've got the fly away, high away. Yeah. All those, just the layering and the vocals, and it really climaxes at the end there.
And then one more thing just about it musically is the drums.
Yes.
And it happens a couple times in this album that the drums are just produced to like really pop. So it's like very dramatic. Pa-tum, pa-tum.
Yes.
Drums. So in the mix, it's just like splendid.
Yeah, it's perfect. Is it Jeff Lynne type drums?
No.
No. Not quite. Yeah, not those plastic drums. No, these are poppin' drums for sure.
Yeah.
But that's it's kind of a, even if you didn't know the story, I think it's a universal type song that everyone in their life goes through some kind of trauma and is saved by a dear friend or a family member or something. And I think this has a meaning beyond the true story about it. Yeah. So it's powerful that way.
Absolutely. One of my favorite songs. I love it so much. So and that's the end of the side. So side A, pretty good. You know, a little tell me when the whistle blows, a little half beat down from the rest of them. But we start the second side way differently.
We're gonna do some rock and roll
with some rock. And the song, and in parentheses, gotta get up. And then meal ticket.
And if you don't know, Chris loves a good parenthetical title. So this is perfect here.
Yeah. And this is kind of actually I said there were two writing songs, but this is kind of also a writing song. Because in the live concert version, which is from the Midsummer Music Concert, which you can get streaming, but also there's a vinyl copy of it, and the vinyl copy cuts this part out. But in the streaming version, he's talking and he's just sort of bantering, and he's like, we were writing songs hoping someone like Engelbert Humperdinck would record them. And then he's like, sorry, Engel, at some point. He says, sorry, Engel, before this song starts. But the big highlight of this is just Elton rocking.
Oh, this is like the I don't know what's a really famous Elton rocker that is similar to this, because it sounds like
rock, probably.
Yeah, it's got that voice and the driving, pumping feel, and the gotta have a meal ticket. So it's I like the line with 50% that's hard to handle. So again, like you said, it's another writing song. They're not getting the full royalties here. They're having to do this, but they need to eat, so you take what you can get.
I think it's true. Like when you're a struggling musician or a struggling artist, you can talk as much as you want about wanting to be pure and be a pure like artist, but you also kind of want to be successful. So that desire and drive to be successful is a real thing. And I think it's like, oh yeah, I gotta get that. If I just got that meal ticket, then I'd be the meal ticket does the rest.
Right.
It's like, oh, the money will come and then I'll be like, great. Everything will be happy and I'll be fine.
Yeah. And it's like, I think because of that, you have a real urgency on the track and some great guitar work, really great licks in there.
There's another just thing in this song is in the chorus. So it's, I gotta get a meal ticket. So it's sort of a shift, a major minor kind of shift back and forth in the chord changes so it's a mixed, I don't know what the title.
Mode mixture.
Mode mixture really works and really makes it feel like an energetic kind of chorus. So
yeah, and that happens a couple of times in this album. He plays back and forth between major and minor, and it keeps you, ooh, what's unexpected? What's happening next? And but it locks in on that chorus.
Yeah,
in the minor.
So it's also that song's the most Elton John of this album.
Very
with the feathers and all.
Stuff. The big glasses and everything. Yeah.
So that goes to the next song, Better Off Dead. What's your take on Better Off Dead?
This one feels like a musical, like a song that could be in a musical, because it's do 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 do, kind of really complex chord progressions and waltzy, or like da 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 da. It's got kind of a musical sound. So like you said, you talked about earlier, the different styles on this song really stand out. This one, I don't even know if it has much of a chorus. I think it's more of just almost through composed. It's just more of a story here.
Yeah, I guess you could say that the chorus is the when I ask that's inspired.
Yeah,
the rose of the thorn in your side. Then you're better off dead if you're having your time. Bum 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 bum.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's that sort of bridge where it's just la la la's and oohs.
Yes. Yeah.
But I love this song, and it's
good.
Really grown on me over the years, and I particularly like the piano at the beginning is just so great. And it sounds a little different too. I don't know what it is.
There's like some chorus or something on that piano. Yeah.
And then we were talking about the drums, the Nigel Olsson drums.
Yeah.
On this one, it's pop, pop, pop. Like it really, they come in, they just hit you in the head. So,
yeah, they do.
Especially if you're listening in headphones, it's like, wow, that's really cool. So
especially at the end when it's just going, better off dead, better off dead. Yeah. It's very, very driving. So,
and then I don't think they're talking about themselves better off dead. I think they're talking about that they were hanging out in the West End with sort of like, when you're, and there's some nightlife here in Chicago, and particularly back when I was doing improv and stuff, and you'd end up in bars and you'd end up with some interesting characters.
Oh, so yeah.
That's what I think it's like. They go to a burger bar where the clientele looked like they were like maybe better off. So I think it's like a fun remembering those times where you're like hanging out with some weird people.
Oh yeah. We've all been there. Yeah.
But I like the song. It's very catchy.
Yeah, it's a good one. And speaking of catchy, I mean, I think that next one, writing, I'm a sucker for a good mid-tempo feel, and this has that. But do you think this song's about writing, or because he's talking about other things in the song, steak and eggs, relaxing in a cool bath?
Well, I think it's like a love song to writing and writing with a partner.
Yes, that's good. Yeah.
And Dave, you and I are in a partnership here.
Yep.
We don't write per se, but we have a good partnership. I also have a longtime writing partner named Chris McConnell, and we write screenplays and things like that. So I think this is a kind of a nice, in fact, the next song even more so,
Yeah.
a friend love song. And
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
the I know you, you know me. It's always half and half.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that sentiment. It's like this is truly a partnership. I couldn't do what I do without you. In
Yeah.
fact, in fact, the few worst considered worst Elton John albums are when him and Bernie Taupin are having a falling out.
Oh.
Bernie's not around. He's trying to write with other people. They just stink. Everybody is like, oh, those are the worst albums.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I like the couple lines in here I really like is will the things we wrote today sound as good tomorrow? And then don't disturb us if you hear us trying to instigate the structure of another line or two. I think
Yeah. There's a lot of good
very
quotable.
catchy.
An approaching year. We will still be writing an approaching year, stifling yawns on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've all been there too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's good. And it's very catchy. I like the guitar. Do 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 do. It's got some
Yeah.
good guitar licks on it. And I don't know, it doesn't sound, it's not like Caribbean or something, but it has kind of a,
The word I was thinking about it for a while, and
yeah,
the word perfect word came to me: lilting.
lilting. Ah, good.
Sort of like dee, 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 dee,
Yeah,
pleasant.
yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
nice.
So writing's a good one. So side two is really hot at this point.
Yeah.
And then
boy,
we,
those last two together probably can be almost similar in some
yeah,
ways.
this is sort of like an epic into an album, and right up to now, you've got a great album.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is what I think makes it a classic album, are these last two songs, starting with the beautiful ballad, We All Fall in Love Sometimes.
And a minor key, back to the minor. That's very plaintive and yearning at the beginning, or slow, just Elton.
Yeah, this piano
dark.
descending opening.
Yeah.
And then there's the mellotrons on this, but and usually the mellotron like blows you away, but it's a very, very subtle usage of the mellotron. Very nice, very wonderful. And then a dueling double-tracked guitar solo, which I just find fascinating. A lot of stuff happening in the guitar solos.
Yeah.
Very emotive kind of thing. But my favorite thing on this track is just Elton's vocals are.
Oh, he sounds amazing on here, and singing some great words. And well, then the chorus or again, the forms are kind of weird on this album, but it turns into major, and you get the do 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 do.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Then we're back to minor again.
Back to minor. It's like playing back and forth, and it just beautiful songwriting. I think the music of it, keyboard, guitars,
Yeah.
and
There's a song it's similar to in the Elton John catalog, which is another wonderful song, which is "Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word." Very similar kind of musically, I think, to that one. But
it's more classical in a way. It sounds certainly the beginning sounds kind of classical, and in that. So, wise men say it looks like rain today. It crackled on the speakers and trickled down the sleepy subway trains. I mean, very evocative sounds.
this lyric, I think, is kind of a telling one. Naive notions that were childish, simple tunes that tried to hide it. What is it that he's trying to hide? And there's a good 2018. We'll get to why there was an interview with him, but Cameron Crowe interviewed him, and Elton said every lyric on Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy was about Bernie and me, about our experiences of being able to make songs and make it big. I cry when I sing this song because I was in love with Bernie, not in a sexual way, but because he was the person I was looking for in my entire life, my soulmate. I was gay by that time and he was married, but he was the person that more than anything I loved.
Wow, that's pretty meaningful.
Yeah. And then there's another little reference, which is when our empty sky was full of laughter, and empty sky capitalized. Empty Sky is the first Elton John album that went almost nowhere and nobody paid any attention to it. But obvious reference to that album. Yeah. So great song, but
Yeah.
it kind of ends, but it seamlessly goes into the next song, another dramatic song,
Yes.
Curtains, another too long song too. We All Fall in Love sometimes 4 minutes, Curtains 6 minutes. So it sort of like makes for a epic 10-minute ending to this album.
Did this happen to you? Well, no, probably not because you know the album really well, but I didn't know it as well. And so I would be listening to it and not paying attention to the track. And I thought, is this still wait a minute, this album's almost over. It sounds like the same, like that, this 10 minutes just seamlessly melded into each other. But it's a huge, if you look at it, it's a huge crescendo really, or like it builds to curtains. It's one of these album ending songs that I don't know, it just repeats, it loops the ending over and over again when
Yeah.
he talks about just like us, you must have had a once upon a time,
Yeah.
the lyrics, but it builds. I think it's another piano driven song that is quite powerful.
Yeah. The drums like are barely there. They're
Yeah.
little duds until it goes, but that's okay. There's treasure children always seek to find. Ta ta ta. And much like us, you must have had a once upon a time. And then it's like fully like epic at that point. Whereas it started sort of like very small and
Yeah.
very kind of like pitter pattery a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Um,
this is where the orchestration helps make it build because you've got like chimes going at the end and
yeah.
bing bong bing when Elton's going, oh,
Yeah.
once upon a time.
Yeah. Love me,
Love me,
do. I think I
yeah.
was singing Love Me
It
Do.
sounds like
Yeah.
love me do. Yeah. But
Um,
it's kind of an inconclusive song too, which
yeah.
leaves you hanging here. It's not
Yeah.
a nice complete. It's not day in the life, let's say, or something.
I there was a comment here from a message board, and I don't know what message board, so I apologize for that. But William from Adelaide, and
Okay.
he said, I recently re-listened to this album after many years. I was spellbound. It holds up so well as a concept album and a coherent whole, both musically and lyrically.
Hmm.
Underrated since it doesn't have big hits and not a lot of radio airplay, but it's probably my favorite Elton John album. However, when I reached the last song pair, I felt that I was in masterpiece territory, and I found to my surprise that I could remember every lyric of the song Curtains, and at the climactic line, I found myself in tears from the elegic,
Elegiac.
elegic, thank you, quality evoking the beautiful but tragic pain of memory. It's a
Mm.
song about nostalgia for the life left behind. So that's wonderful. And I
Yeah.
like,
Well said.
yeah, there's a couple of lines in it. I used to know this old Scarecrow. Scarecrow was the first song they wrote together, apparently.
Oh, see, this is all great. This is helpful to me because I don't know the ins and outs of Bernie and Elton, but so it really is autobiographical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I once wrote childish words for you, but that's okay. There's treasure children always seek to find, and just like us, you must have had a once upon a time. So I think
Mm.
it's like reaching out to the listener
Yeah.
in a wonderful way. And then there's another line in here that just is interesting to me just because of a later song, which we know pretty well, Empty Garden, the Elton John tribute to John Lennon. There's a line in here, cultivate the freshest flower this garden never grew.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that just made me think of that too. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so wonderful track to end the album.
Yeah.
So that's the album.
Well, and I was reading, like I mentioned, in a lot of reading of different reviews from the time and from more recent retrospectives. And something that they said, a couple people said this album is a grower. And
Yeah,
it's not an immediate, it doesn't have hits like we talked about. So
yeah,
it doesn't get you right away. And I felt that way. I was like, oh God, Chris, what did you make me do? I'm gonna have to listen to this whole album. But then a couple listens in, I was hearing it, humming it. I woke up in the middle of the night and
Yeah,
was hearing it,
yeah.
and it's like, ah, I see the power. I get it now.
Yeah, the
It's
first few times I was like, this meal ticket song.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then your meal ticket
yeah,
does the in the kitchen.
yeah.
And I'm like,
I
oh,
picked up
wow.
my guitar. Yeah, I was playing with it. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
really does grow on you, but it has to be seen as a whole concept album, I think, or as a unified piece, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now, along with the album comes a few singles that are of the album era. And this I think is important too because this album not having many singles, that them to be able to go and write these singles and have these hits while this album doesn't have so many hits, I think was important to keep his career going and not have to shove Philadelphia Freedom on the album or,
Right.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or something, which don't really fit.
No, Philadelphia Freedom, which was those two, and then One Day at a Time were put on as bonus tracks, but they
Yeah.
don't really fit at all, I don't think, with the album.
Yeah, and then House of Cards is that. If you're streaming, that song is also on there. I'll just quickly mention House of the Cards. Kind of a lesser track, but a cool guitar sound, kind of a guitar sound just kind of going throughout. But the one we wanted to talk about in this episode is Philadelphia Freedom, since it was such a big hit.
Yeah.
Such a fun song. That song always makes me think of the bicentennial.
It does. It really sounds like
Yeah,
1976. Well, and Philadelphia Freedom would make sense too.
yeah.
And this is the most like Saturday Night Live-y song to me, or like a Rolling Stones do with the
Yeah.
horns and the
Yeah.
you used to boo, 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 that kind of
Yeah.
Elton voice.
This is the
Catchy.
little flute runs.
Yeah,
Doodling.
yeah.
My favorite thing of this song is in the part where there's like, if you choose to, you can live your life. Where you get the falsetto. I think it's Elton himself in falsetto singing the background, where he's like,
Yeah.
"Live your life alone. Some people choose the city. Some people choose the good old family home." So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I guess he wrote this song about tennis team. Billie Jean King said, like, "Hey Elton, will you write a song? Will you
Wow.
write a song about the Philadelphia Freedoms, the professional tennis team that was getting going, I guess." And so he's like, I don't know how to write about tennis.
Oh, I'm disappointed it's not about Benjamin Franklin and Thomas
But
Jefferson.
but Gene Page, who we shamed a little for the
Yeah.
track 4, did the flutes and the horns
Well,
and the
the best
string.
part is the boop boop doot, doot,
Yeah.
doot, doot, doot,
Well,
doot,
you're a
doot.
big horns guy. Do you like the boop, 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 boop?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very much of its time.
Yeah,
Good touches and gives it a lot of energy. He
yeah,
sounds to me like Mick Jagger a little bit, or sounds maybe more Stones like. I don't know
yeah.
if you hear that, but it's not as Elton-y piano wise because there's all this other stuff going on.
How do you like the line? Till the whippoorwill of freedom zap me right between the eyes.
That's a creative one.
Yeah. I don't think there's many more songs that mention whippoorwill.
Whippoorwill? No, not at all.
So pretty good there. And then the B side of Philadelphia Freedom was I Saw Her Standing There, the live version with John Lennon from the famous concert that Elton forced him to play because on a bet,
That's right.
because the song Whatever Gets You Through the Night hit #1, and so he was forced against his will to come and play I Saw Her Standing There.
At Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, so if you had the single back in its day and you were a Beatles fan, it was really exciting. Also, another exciting single, which we're going to talk about on a separate episode, that was released at this time, was Elton's version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And the B-side to that is Elton's version of One Day at a Time, a John Lennon song from, what album is that on? Mind Games?
Mind Games, yeah.
Yeah. So please, we'll have a link in the show notes to that episode, which is on our other podcast, I've Got a Beatles Podcast, our other YouTube channel /podcast. So check that out. And then you can also check out that Cameron Crowe interview with Elton from back in, I think it was in 2006. I said 2013 earlier, but I think it was in 2006. And why? Because in 2006, here it comes, Dave, sequel album.
Oh, yes.
The Captain and the Kid chronicles the events in their lives over the intervening 3 decades. So I really didn't listen to this album. I listened to it when it came out, and then I listened to it once this week. Pretty solid album. I mean, it's older Elton John. It's not prime Elton John. But it's more of a look of when they've made it and going around the U.S. There's a song called Postcards from Richard Nixon. There's another song called Wouldn't Have You Any Other Way, New York City. It's like a love song to New York City. But there's a couple great tracks on it. There's one called Just Like Noah's Ark, which is another religious kind of thing. And that's track 2, just like Tower of Babel. Yeah, so it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Okay. The Bridge is a good song, and I Must Have Lost It in the Wind's pretty good. So definitely worth a listen.
I will do that. I will do that.
And then I love this. This is, and I've said many times, Dave, artists should record the album live, do a live performance of the album when it comes out. This is recorded in Wembley Stadium, 1975.
Oh, right at the time.
Live at Midsummer Music. And this you have to buy this one on his website. But it's also streaming. It was originally released as part of one of those deluxe. Remember when CDs would come out and they'd be the deluxe version and it's got a second thing. Well, I had a CD of this and I wore it out. And so it's a really good live performance and very. He even goes higher on some of the notes than he usually does, which obviously he couldn't do after all of his throat stuff in the late 80s,
and drug problems,
early 90s, and but wonderful live album. Highly recommend that. Yeah.
Well, what's your rating on Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy?
I think it's a 10. It's a 10. It's one of my few 10s. I can't get enough of it. I love it. I play it all the time, and particularly "Someone Saved My Life Tonight's
that's a 10.
Top 10. So, what do you think?
Since it's new to me, I don't have a lot to compare it to with Elton, but I really enjoyed listening to it overall, and so it's maybe a little long, so I might give it an 8.5 or 9, but really good, and it makes me. The mark for me is, do I want to listen to more by the artist? And the answer is yes. So I may go back to the beginning of the Elton catalog.
I think you'd like that one above my head.
Yes.
Elton John, because it is very orchestral and Paul Buckmaster arrangements. And some of those arrangements are really incredible, like The King Must Die, particularly, with a lot of strings and stuff. So that one's pretty good. And obviously, the Go My Yellow Brick Road is very good. It's a double album, so it's got a couple duds on it. But,
of course.
Yeah, and then he's got some other good ones in the 70s. But once you stretch into the 80s, there's some clunkers. There's some real. And then once Reg Strikes Back and some albums like that are just real not good.
No.
But The Fox, it's a flop.
He's basically retired now, hasn't he? He stopped touring?
He stopped touring, but then he immediately made an album with Brandi Carlile.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And which is pretty good. I listened to it a couple times. Pretty decent album. So so it sort of freed him up. But he's also gone blind.
That's right.
You can barely see anything now. So
it's terrible.
But he's had a great career, and as much as I think at the time that it was okay, he's doing Disney stuff. You know, once people go Disney, they get very maligned
Oh,
for
that's
it.
right. Didn't he do the Lion King?
He did
That
the
was-
Lion King.
Yeah.
And he was rich already,
Yeah.
but the Lion King music, and then that became a musical. And once you do a musical, then they're just printing money with your face on it.
Yeah.
So he's pretty rich guy.
Well set up.
So, but yeah, this album's really great. So
It is.
Yes, once again, we've got another episode that you can watch where we're going to talk about listening to this guy with diamonds and one day at a time, part of our I've Got a Beatles podcast. Follow us there, follow us and like us and subscribe, and we'll be back very soon with another song or album or career.